Alright, here at No Reserve, we got our 65 Ford F100. It's pretty much all original Survivor. You can tell it's got that killer kind of shop truck patina look. I love this kind of truck because there pretty much is no secrets. It kind of just tells a story of its life. I mean, you could tell that at some point they swapped out the bed. You know, it's an original Wimbledon white truck, so all the pieces that are original is, you know, the cab doors, driver's side fender, hood, and then the grill and the bed and the passenger side fender have been swapped out with more of like a mustard colored truck at some point. But it's killer to see that this truck still got its original, you know, hard to find 16-inch wheels with it's got the original hubcaps on there. But this has been actually a really well-maintained truck. You know, this thing is was pretty much probably designed to be, bought to be a workhorse, and always has been. You can tell by the baked paint that it's got on it. It's always been in the dry eastern Washington temperatures. It gets really hot in the summertime. In wintertime it gets cold, but that kind of area just keeps this kind of killer look to these trucks. It's got a block heater for the wintertime if it gets cold. But this truck since 1965 has always been on the road, always been registered. Almost everything works on it. All the gauges work, all the instrument cluster lights work. It runs just killer. But I'll go around and kind of show. It's obviously got some bumps and bruises and stuff like that. And but I like trucks like this because you look at it and it just kind of, is it what I call like a true survivor. I mean, it's had some bumps. Obviously the bed's been swapped out due to maybe, got a little bit too banged up or what happened. But they had the original service, memorial kind of magnet on there for so long that it's a permanent baked piece of the paint, which is just kind of a killer look to it. This just kind of age look here. I mean, there's people who spend tons of money to try to get a paint job to look the way this cab and fenders and hood look. And along with the rest of the truck, it's just kind of, obviously if it was all Wimbledon white, it'd, be a little bit more ideal, but it still kind of has this killer look to it with this mismatched colors. What originally we wanted to do is just give it a cheap, static, lower down suspension. Put some wheel Ventiques, like probably 18s on there, and stagger them out and just give it that kind of killer shop truck look. Maybe use it for our parts runner or sell it off that way, but we're going to keep the original caps. And so I'll just kind of show you underneath the hood. It's really clean underneath here, and it's got the original 240 inline 6-cylinder that runs like a top. I mean, you can see it's had regular maintenance. The switch was replaced at some point on the master cylinder. Still got the Fomico air, bag still in good condition, still in the original hooks. Carburetor's been rebuilt at some point. All the fuel lines are good. The battery's good. It doesn't have any draw. It's the radiator holds good pressure, doesn't overflow. It's obviously had regularly replaced at some point with a Napa piece. So it's just had really good regular maintenance. Clean oil change. But e-brake works, obviously it's pulled on. But it's cool to see also it has the original, still just a one-key system. You put the one key in, it'll lock all the doors, and it still runs the ignition. It's not all wore out. But it's obviously warmed up now for our drive. It's missing the original stereo, but that's pretty much how it fires up. I didn't even hit the gas. You can see the fuel gauge is working, the temperature gauge is coming up, speedometer works. We'll go ahead and click on the lights. I'll do the wipers when we drive it. The windows go up and down really fast. You're obviously missing, the sweeps, and the interior one's a little wore out. You're missing the wing window here, the little switch, so it gets a little bit of air noise. But all the rubbers and stuff like that are going to be original, so expect that kind of stuff. Inside is all original. It's got a seat cover on it, looks decent. It was optioned with the seat belts, which is nice to see for safety nowadays. It's got this killer kind of aged look on the red steering wheel. Dash, it has some surface rust. It kind of just matches the rest of the truck. All the headliner, a lot of this stuff is weathered, but it's cool to see it's still here. The rockers are in nice shape. The door's shut really nice. As mentioned before, they lock good. Original VIN decal shows all the goodies. It was built in the Dallas plant. So I may have spent a little bit of time in Texas too. It's got the original mat. It's pretty amazing to see it's in this condition. So hopefully it don't mess it up too much by pulling it up. But you know, you have a little bit of rust here, rust in the floor pans, but you can get these nice and cheap. You know, a little bit of condensation's coming in, but it's kind of the same way on the other side. And I'll kind of go around there. But you can just hear that thing just run like a sewing machine. I mean, it just runs awesome. We'll let her keep running and kind of warm up. But you know, you got some rust on the front of the hood here. You can see the blockade, you know, you got surface rust. You know, the chrome still looks good on the bumper, but it's aged. It got some imperfections. Got some little dents here. You know, the doors are nice. They just got surface rust. You know, of course, the rubber on the back window looks pretty good, but it's old and getting a little dry. Down here, I think they pounded out a dent. This isn't actually rusty, it's just surface rust. See the tailgate's got a little bit of, you know, pinholes at the bottom. A little dent there, got a little rust there. Again, this isn't the original tailgate of the truck. Some pinholes here in the hinge area, real common. But there's a little rust hole there. The floor, I mean, the bed floor is actually really solid. I mean, you could just run with it this way. You know, maybe put a little piece up here. You obviously have a little bit of rust, or you could throw a toolbox up there and you're good to go. You could drop in a plastic bed liner and it pretty much would fix it for as long as you need to, or find a better bed if you plan on doing a restoration. It's about, you know, it's probably about 30 degrees right now, maybe a little less, so it's just cold weather condensation kind of going on. You know, you got little dents down here. Looks like some house paint spilled at some point, a little rust. But overall, the truck itself, you know, you have a little bit, you can see the pictures, looks like maybe, you know, there might be a little bit of rust under there. They puttied it at some point, but it doesn't really seem that way. I think they were just trying to stop some water from coming in. You can see the rockers and the dog legs are all looking good. You know, this rubber mat's a little bit more broken up, but this is just an original hole, a drain plug hole, but there is rust right here and a little rust starting right there. So, and you got surface rust around here. But the original decal for the glove box is still there, and the original, you know, cardboard liner is still in really nice shape, which kind of shows, you know, the dry climate this thing's been in most of its life. But you know, it doesn't knock, and you know, this will, you know, go away as you drive. It's just cold out here. But so okay, we're gonna go ahead and hit the road. I'll turn the turn signals on. You know, left turn signal. You know, you can hear the bumper rattling a little bit. Just old truck stuff like that. You know, honestly, you know, this truck's been such a workhorse that if someone's looking for a restoration, this thing is deserving, because it's been busting its ass for a long, long time. But honestly, I think this truck should be, you know, left as is. Maybe try to source out an original paint Oxford or a Wimbledon white bed. Originally, just drive it. This thing drives awesome. You know, it's all original 65, so it's, you're gonna drive like a 65. You're gonna get some wind noises. But you drive a truck like this, you really start to appreciate how far trucks have come. You know, this is still the era when truck's a truck, truck's a tool. You know, it's purpose built and purpose bought, but it's like you don't even have a pull handle. You know, it's like little things like that. You go, well, it's missing, and you go, wait a minute, it isn't even supposed to have one. So, you know, these you just give her a good slam, and you're good to go. But we got the lights going, wipers work, and that's it, boys. 65, you got one speed. Blower motor works nice. Heat works really good. You turn it to the right, it's on high, and you pull it for the heat. You can tell that it hasn't been, it's not howling or having any issues. So it is cold out here, so let's see here. I'm gonna put on low. E-brake works, obviously didn't roll away on us. So it's a 4-speed. I start off in second for the most part, you know, unless you're towing. You can see we're not smoking or nothing like that. It's just the cold weather condensation that all of us know about. You know, the synchros are nice and tight in the transmission. You know, we'll go into reverse here. It doesn't grind or fight you. Clutch works good. It doesn't fight you going into gear or anything like that. Get going here. And the pedal comes up to where it should, but it does, you know, you can feel in your foot, it does kind of grab a little lower than, a little closer to the floor more than I'd like, but it's perfectly fine the way it is. But you can hear this thing, I mean, it just goes nice and straight, just whistles along. You hear those wind noises, so I'll speak up a little bit for you. You can see the speedometer working. Odometer's rolling over. It says 59,813. You know, it's 5-digit odometer. No idea if that's 159 or 259. So you just kind of got to go on your own. You know, there's not a lot of wear on the rubber pads, so it probably just has a, you know, 159 on the pedal pads, but God only knows. You got to kind of just buy it on its condition, because in the end, it doesn't really matter how many miles it has. The truck is what it is. So you can see it just coming through here. We're gonna get on the highway. Just gonna like to show people, hey, this thing, you know, it's built for 65 roads, and it's gonna want 65 roads and speeds, but it's gonna get on the highway. It's gonna drive. I trust it to drive on the highway. So I just like to show people, hey, you know. So we're in 4th gear now. I'm gonna go up here and exit off the highway in a little bit. If you put that lock in here, a new fly window handle, it'll make it a lot quieter. So, but you're still gonna get wind noises. These things made wind noises brand new. I mean, they're not aerodynamic, and that was not a need or intention when these things were bought brand new. They were built to be tough, and that's why that truck's still here today. But I'll get it in 1st gear down here too, but I'm gonna exit off the road. There's a real kind of crappy road with tight turns I want to take you through and show you that it doesn't have any binding. The front end is super tight. You know, I'm doing 60, almost. I'll go ahead and give her a little bit more juice. Here we go. You know, in all honesty, you know, this thing doesn't like to go faster than about, you know, 70, 75. That's like, she felt like she was screaming when I did that. You know, if you really want to wrap her up, maybe put a tack in here so you know what you're spinning at. But you can imagine, you know, speed limits back then are a little bit different. You know, a lot of times, whoa, a little bit of belt squeal there. So, alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start off in 1st here. So I might need to tighten up that belt a little bit. So that's 1st gear. It's kind of why I don't use it, you know. It's but it does go into 2nd nice, so I wanted to show you that. I'm going 2nd, and then into 3rd. You know, here's some potholes. It just soaks them up nice. I mean, door hinges are in nice shape. You don't get, you know, you get some obvious wind noises as you heard and I talked about, but you don't get that rattly truck feel. I mean, there's a pothole there, patch job. Here's another little spot in the road. And, you know, you'll see the bump, you'll see the hood move a little bit, but you don't feel that suspension underneath. Here's another patch. I'll hit it with going 40, and it soaks it up nice. But you don't hit it and whoa, you don't have your steering wheel going all over the place. I mean, this thing's tight. I mean, you know, this is moving the truck around. I mean, you know, honestly, I don't think you could get a 65, especially an original truck, to drive better. So I'm gonna downshift into 3rd there, so you can see a nice little tight 90 here. It's got good resistance. She wants to bounce back to center, which is nice to see. The steering box isn't tore up. But overall, this is just a killer looking truck. You know, you'd be surprised, you know, because so many of these trucks have just gotten thrown out or beaten or rusted away, that this thing gets a lot of comments from people, man, because you can tell this thing has stood the test of time. It wasn't a truck that been babied, so you know how this truck pretty much is kind of showing you how tough it is, because it survived, obviously, you know, all these years, all these decades, but obviously it's had some things happen. But so alright, this is going at no reserve. This truck really, you know, it's not going to be a big money truck, obviously, but we kind of just bought it to get it to its next home, to take it from the hands it was in, enjoy it for a little bit, possibly make it into our shop truck, but we've chosen to, you know, send it off, and hopefully it gets